You are eating something that is hurting your heart. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. A little geeky science for you for the day. This is a study of 20,000 individuals. It was a good, solid study. It was published in a journal called Preventive Cardiology at the Scientific Congress of the European Society of Cardiology, heart medicine. And what they found there, first of all, they measured three types of, they used three different ways of measuring heart function, how well your heart is doing. First, cardiovascular magnetic resonance, CMR, which assesses the function of the heart. It's sort of like an MRI, you know, only specific to the heart. So it's looking at the soft tissue, at the muscles and things, and the inside of the arteries and veins. Second, they used a technique called novel CMR radiomics, excuse me, which is used to extract detailed information from heart images such as shape and texture. And the third thing they measured was the elasticity of blood vessels. The elasticity of blood vessels determines the variability of your blood pressure, the ability of your body to respond to demands for higher blood pressure, like, you know, as a consequence of exercise, or to downregulate as a consequence of, for example, relaxing or meditating or sleeping. And they also adjusted, by the way, they looked at a whole bunch of variables: age, gender, deprivation, education, smoking, alcohol, exercise, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and body mass index as a measure of obesity. So they took all of those variables and basically sorted them out, filtered them out. If you have one obese person in the control group, you have one obese person in the non-control group, for example. So it doesn't matter, right? So all you're measuring is heart. That's all they're looking at. And this study was published over at ScienceDaily.com. And just to give credit, because I'm going to quote a sentence or two, the researchers found that greater intake of red meat was associated with worse imaging measures of heart health across all measures studied. Specifically, individuals with higher meat intake had smaller ventricles, poorer heart function, and stiffer arteries, all markers of worse cardiovascular health. Now, they compared this. I've told you for years that, I became a vegetarian when I was 16, and then maybe, 15 years ago or so, I started eating fish occasionally, and then I stopped eating fish for a year or so, and then maybe, 6-8 months ago, Louise and I started eating fish maybe once a month. We will try to eat oily fish occasionally. I'm just following my body essentially. So I'm a vegan who eats fish. I don't eat dairy products. So anyhow, the researchers found greater intake of red and processed meat was associated with the worst imaging across all measures studied. Meat intake had smaller ventricles, poorer heart function, stiffer arteries, all markers of cardiovascular health. As a comparison, the researchers also tested the relationship between heart imaging measures and intake of oily fish, which has previously been linked with better heart health. They found that as the amount of oily fish consumption rose, heart function improved and arteries were stretchier. Interesting. Very interesting. Apparently my body is telling me good stuff. They go on to say, this is one of the researchers, Dr. Razi Estabra, says, for example, it's possible that greater red meat intake leads to raised blood cholesterol, and this in turn causes heart disease. Our study suggests that these four factors do play a role in the links between meat intake and heart health, but don't apply to fish. She noted, quote, there is some evidence that red meat alters the gut microbiome, leading to higher levels of certain metabolites in the blood, which have been linked to greater risk of heart disease. And I think this is just absolutely fascinating. You want to read the whole thing, the European Society of Cardiology is where it is published, and you can get the entire study there. But I mean, this just comes on the heel. I remember back in the 70s, when Louise and I were just like, crusaders for vegetarianism. And a friend of ours owned a restaurant, and his father got heart disease and was literally dying of heart disease. And his father was in his 60s. And when we were all in our 30s at the time. And he took his father out to Nathan Pritikin's place, where they put him on basically a vegan diet. And his father's heart disease reversed. And his father lived for another, decade and a half, just fine, thank you very much. Just never again ate meat or dairy. And, I've seen this with my own eyes over and over and over again.